Hello, good afternoon. Welcome, Diaspora. Welcome to the public wherever you are. This is Watch Radio and we're on live. We are on Faith, Health, and Finance with your host and the one and only Rowan Fernelon. Thank you for coming. We were due to start a little earlier, but there were some technical issues. However, we are so happy to have you with us. We give thanks and praise for being here. We thank the Lord for giving us life, for seeing today, seeing our friends and family. This program, it's all about faith, and everything we discuss will be from a biblical point of view, because we know we are here only at the will of the Father. Life is not promised to us tomorrow, so we are grateful for being in the land and the living. We give the Lord the glory, the honor, and praise. This program, we shall be discussing biblical issues, the Bible, how it applies to our life, as well as we shall be discussing issues related to health, cancer, issues that affect men, women, our kids, but we're going to tie it in to biblical principle because everything emanates from the Lord. We give thanks and glory, as well as financial matters. In the Bible, in Proverbs 21:20, it says, "The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down." What does that mean? This, to my mind, says we need to have a plan. We need to have a daily plan of living. However, we need to be able to save for tomorrow. We need to plan and also avoid wasteful spending, particularly in these times of uncertainty. We give glory and honor to the Lord. So today we have a very exciting program for you. It's the first of our programs. We have Sister Kathleen with us, who will be giving us a word, how it applies to our daily lives. Finances, how it applies to our daily lives to help us, to encourage us, to uplift us. As well as we have a guest who is Brother Martin HANNA. He's the CEO of Penny Pinch. And Penny Pinch is such a beautiful thing. I'm so excited to tell you, the diaspora, and you, the public, about Penny Pinch and how it could help you. At this moment, I would like to go over to Sister Kathleen, who will give us a word. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you, and welcome to this program, one first of many to come. And from a financial perspective, I would like to tell of a story of a king, King Amaziah, who hired 300,000 men from his kingdom to fight in any battle that they needed to enter. And in his mind, in his estimation, in his calculation, 300,000 men were not enough. So, what he decided to do was to hire another 100,000 men from another kingdom, as he prepared and calculated on his own that this these other men were stronger and better to fight the battle. A prophet came to him and said, "Do not go to battle with this man, because the Lord is not with them, and the Lord will not be with you." This story is found in the Bible. It's found in Second Chronicles. It's an interesting story, though it is a story mainly about battle and mainly about a king making a decision. What I do appreciate of this Bible story in this chapter is that King Amaziah, he says to the prophet, who is a man of God who speaks on behalf of the Lord, he says to the man, "I have just spent 100,000 talents on those men. What am I going to do?" In other words, he spent so much money and now he feels like it's a loss because now the prophet is saying, "Do not go with the men because the Lord will not be with you." And as he says that, as we look at Second Chronicles 25, verse 9, it says here, Amaziah asked the man of God, But what about the 100 talents I paid for these Israelite troops? The man of God replied, the Lord can give you much more than that. This verse stood out to me, though if you look at the content and context, it was not about finances. But the response was not, you know what, don't be greedy, don't spend money, you spent too much money. The Lord said he could give him much more than the 100 talents he had already spent. This tells us that the Lord wants to be involved in our business, including our finances. And another takeaway from this chapter and even this verse is that the Lord definitely wants us to trust him with our decisions. Too many times we make decisions and we do not include the Lord, and finances is one of them. We have decided on our own it's okay to just get by, but yet the Lord said he has given us wisdom, which could be found in James chapter 1. And he said you could ask and you would get wisdom, because he doesn't want us to suffer. He doesn't want us to be poor. However, he wants us to trust in him. And as we continue to learn biblical financial principles, I want to end with the verse of First Corinthians 2:5, which says, let our faith not depend on man's wisdom, but in God's power. So as we continue to tune in and get other principles of finances, for daily functioning, for living, for investment, for let us seek God's guidance on how to spend our money, how to invest wisely, and how to continue to seek his ordinance in our life, in every aspect of our lives. And with that said, we thank you as we continue to trust in the Lord in all our decisions. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Amen. Sister Kathleen, that is so wonderful. I understand it better. Because there are times when you read something, you have to be blessed with the Spirit to understand and read it over, maybe a second and a third time. So thank you for blessing us here. We are on Watch Radio Live. This is Faith, Health, and Finance with host Rowan Fernelon. Thank you for tuning in. It's all about education. It's all about financial literacy. We'd like to acknowledge some persons in the chat. I see Damar Williams. Thank you for joining. We're having such a great, awesome day. Please, if you have any questions, concerns, please put it in the chat. We'll try our best to respond to you as the show goes on, or we'll get back to you after. So right now, I want to go into a word. It's a financial literacy education. Why financial literacy? Because we exist every day, daily living. Without money, nothing can be done. But remember, it is the Lord who blesses us financially. So in the scripture, there are certain principles which we should acknowledge from the Lord. Okay, so on the screen you could see a presentation. And again, please share your concerns or questions. We'll attempt to address them in the chat, or we'll get back to you. We are very live on Watch Radio, so share the live, tell a friend, tell a family person, call someone, share this live, and invite others on. This is Watch Radio, and we on Faith, Health, and Finance, a new program with your host, Rowan Fernelon. Right, so we'll go into the presentation right now. So again, we shouldn't be just existing every day without a plan. We need to be conscious of certain things. So we say we need to have an awareness and knowledge for the decisions we can make or we should make. And to do that, we need to have financial literacy. Knowledge is not power until it is applied. So some of the principles we'll discuss here with you, we hope you could apply it to your daily living. So if you have someone who has a mortgage of $500,000, $500,000, and then you have two families, one family earning $100,000, and family B earns $1 million, which family do you think will be able to pay off that mortgage first? Is it family A, which earns $100,000, or family B, which makes $1,000,000? Obviously, obviously, you would think it is family B. Why? Family B makes more income, higher income. So by making higher income, you're able to do things faster. So we're seeing the problem is not expenses, but it is a money issue, our ability to earn money. So there's some basic principles behind that. I want to introduce you to two philosophies rather. There's something called single-handed income. And single-handed income could be you, I, your family member. Why is it single? It's because you go to work every day, you go to work for a week, you work 35 hours or 40 hours, and then you get paid for that. Hence, your ability to earn income is attached to how many hours you give. You give the boss man 40 hours, he pays you for 40 hours. Yeah, you don't give any hours, there's no money. You can apply that principle single-handed, and there are many instances of single-handed income all around us. Doctor, lawyer, real estate. A lawyer could only get income money if they service a client. If there are no clients, there's no money. And we saw what happened during COVID. Okay? So, there is a concept, an alternative concept called multi-handed income. Ideally, this is the best place to be, and this is where you want to be. Okay? So, what is multi-handed income? Multi-handed income is where you have an infinite amount of time. You are not given 40 hours of work to the boss. You now have yourself given the 40 hours, but you have other people given the same hours. You're able to borrow people's time. And by doing that, you now have multiple streams of income. Rowan, what are you talking about? I don't understand. I'll give an example. Uber. The driver for Uber, which is a taxi cab service operating from an app on the phone, the driver working for Uber, okay, earns a fixed amount by giving his time. He exchanges his time for money. But Uber doesn't own vehicles. However, Uber uses people's time. Okay? So by using people's time, those various drivers, Uber is able to have what you call multi-handed income. And that's how they're able to make revenue. And the same concept applies to food chains, restaurant chains. Okay? So ideally where you want to be is something called multi-handed income. These are topics we are just touching on. However, to share more with you, you could always connect with us individually and we'll tell you how to do that. So we'll discuss the next slide. To get to multi-handed income, before you get to that, which we said is the ideal place to be, there's some basic concepts you would need to practice. And again, it comes from the Bible. Okay? Most people, and again, I'm coming from the Caribbean, and my parents didn't have that knowledge to share with me. There was no one who taught me those things. Luckily, I was able, as I went along, I got connected to this information. I'm so happy. It has made me a better person, and I'm able to achieve higher things for myself, for my family. Most people live from hand to mouth. You get pay, you have bills to pay, rent, grocery, etc., etc. So all your monies go to expenses. Ideally, Warren Buffett, who's a multi-trillionaire, okay, and the rich and famous, they practice what you see on the first slide called your 10%. Given 10%, in other words, pay yourself first. So say your annual salary is $60,000 for the year, okay? We're saying ideally put 10% of that, which is $6,000, okay? $6,000, 10% for the year, that works out to $500 a month, okay? It seems like a lot, but then when you look at it, if you have to attack it or approach it on a daily basis, that is actually about $17 a day. Can we commit to doing that? Yes. So we need to have some saving discipline, okay? Pay yourself first. No matter what you do, pay yourself first. Put aside 10%, okay? There's something called the rules of money. Three basic principles. Once you understand it, you are able to achieve things. Basically, there's something called compound interest. Okay? There's something called taxes. Understand the effect of taxes on your money. Okay? And understand what you can do to grow the money. We'll delve into those things. You want ideally, you know you're the main breadwinner for your family. Yes? You have a wife, or maybe that person is not your wife. Okay? But there is someone, a partner. So you want income protection. You want to protect your income if something goes wrong. Your income is protection. Your income is protected. We saw what happened during COVID. A lot of people were out of work. There was no work. There was no income protection. Okay? Ideally, there's something called income replacement. What happens if you are sick? You are not dead, but you are sick. There are bills to be paid. You have to take care of the family. How you do that? We also want generational wealth for ourselves, for our families to pass on. So, the rules of money. We've heard of simple interest, okay? But there's something called compound interest. It's what the banks deal with. It's what when you have to pay credit cards, there's what you call compound interest. You have it on your savings, you have it on the loans. Example, which I'll go into again. You make $60,000 a year. That 10% of that $60,000 is $6,000, which works out to $500 a month, which breaks down to $17 a day. Now just imagine, you don't put that money under the bed. You put it in certain instruments. These are instruments which the financial institutions know, but they will not teach us. Okay? In America, you have 401k accounts, retirement accounts, and all of these. What really are these? We here will attempt to, as we go along, progress with this program on Watch Radio, the place to be. We'll teach you, we'll share with you a little more. Okay? By putting the 10% away monthly, it depends on where you put it. Ideally what you want to use the powers of compound interest, that money could grow exponentially. You don't want 1%, 2%. You will aim for where you could get 3, 4, 5, 10%. The question is, where do I get such high interest rates? We'll tell you as we go along. I want to take a little time to shout out Sabina and everybody on the live. Please share the live. Call a friend. Say, we're live on Watch Radio. It's an interesting program. Join in. Next slide. Right, so there's something called the rule of 72. In essence, it is compound interest working for you. The higher the interest rate, if you put your money, that 10%, in certain accounts where compound interest works for you, the higher the interest rate, the higher your money will grow, the faster your money will grow. Next slide. Right. But how does the money grow? Basically, there are 3 buckets that you could put your monies in. Fixed bucket, which is the bank. Whenever you put your money in the bank, you know it is safe. But what is the interest rate? We all know, okay, that how does the bank make money? The banks make money by using your money. The banks take your money, they make profit on it, and then they will loan you that money, same money, and charge you where they make more money in you. Okay? So with the banks, you have safety. You know, whenever you put your money in the bank, you expect it to be there. So there is safety. But we say there's no growth. If you see the curve and the fix, because that money is growing at a very fixed small percentage. It could be 0.01, 0.1%, etc. Okay? There's something called variable. Variable accounts is simply anything that falls under investment, like the investment companies, etc. You give them your money, they will invest it for you where the money can grow. So we see there is growth, particularly everything is attached to the stock market. When the stock market is doing very well, money grows exponentially. And don't you want your money to grow? Yes, absolutely. Okay? You want your money to grow. However, we see there's no safety. When the stock market is dipping, if you look at the share prices, your shares are going down. Okay, we saw what happened during COVID when the market was doing negative. People who had monies invested in the stock market, okay, they were losing money. People close to, imagine you're close to retirement and say you have $100,000 saved. The stock market is doing negative. It's doing negative at present, even now. So what's going to happen to the accounts invested in the stock market? You'll be losing money. So imagine you're at your retirement age where you want to take your money and then that money is being lost. There were people during COVID who had huge sums saved, and those people lost like 30-40%. Okay? So ideally, we say in variable accounts, okay, and these are with the investment companies, okay, like Voya, Mutual of America, okay? These are investment companies. Companies that manage our 401k and the pension plans. Okay, now when I refer to those things, I'm referring strictly to America. Okay? There is no safety. So your monies, yeah, you put monies every month, but this you're actually losing monies in value. Okay? So there's what you call index accounts. Index account, I will tell you, is ideally where everyone wants to be. Why? Simply because anything under an index account, there is safety. Meaning you never lose your money. What am I talking about? What are you talking about, Rowan? Hey, dude, what's going on? Yes, there in the index account, there is safety. It means if you invest that 10% in an index account, no matter what happens in the stock market, particularly if it's dipping, you never lose. Don't you want that? Wouldn't you want that? Absolutely, yes. There's also growth. When the stock market, because we say everything works is based on the stock market. When the stock market is growing exponentially, you grow up with the stock market. If the stock market is going on, you're locked in. So what sort of accounts fall under the stock market? What sort of companies? Okay, we look at life insurance companies, companies which grow your cash value, etc. We will discuss this further. Next slide. Amen. We want to big up everyone tuned in today on the live. Again, we ask you to share. We're happy that you're taking the time to be here on Watch Radio. This is the place to be. We want to ask you, have you drunk water today? Have you prayed? Are you thankful for life? Your husband, your wife, your partner, your children are alive. Tomorrow is not promised to us. So every day we are in the land of the living, we need to give thanks and praise. Forget about being vexed with your neighbor, etc. We give thanks and praise to the Lord. So another aspect of the money is how is it taxed? You know, you have to pay taxes even when you are dead. There are 3 tax buckets. The tax now, these are the stock market. If you're in the stock market, your cash deposit, your saving checking, mutual funds, you got to pay the taxes now, not later. Uncle Sam, in the USA, you have to pay your taxes now. There's tax later. What is tax later? Uncle Sam says, hey, this is how it works. I will give you a loan. Don't worry about paying me back. Don't worry about what you'll have to pay. You'll pay me later. So in essence, that captures what tax later now. You are allowed to take the monies are deducted from your payroll, which is put aside, and it grows. Or you could lose too, by the way, as we discussed earlier, when the stock market goes down. But you know there are taxes to be paid. Even when you're dead, you pay taxes. So you're going to pay taxes later. So the question to you, would you rather pay taxes now or pay later? You have 2 seconds to guess. And the answer is you would rather pay the taxes now. Why? Because you know exactly what you're paying. You want to pay taxes on the seed, not on the harvest when it's grown. There's something called tax advantage. Ideally, that's where you'd like to be. You pay the taxes now so you know you don't have to pay later. Okay, and what falls under that? There's something called long-term care, cash value life insurance, 5 to 9 quality saving plans. Don't be frightened of all these terms. This is the place to be on Watch Radio. Fifth, health, finance, where we will educate you. Again, this is not financial advice. We're simply sharing concepts from a biblical point. Next slide. So, there's a beautiful thing which I personally discovered, is called an Index Universal Life, IUL. Remember, early on, we shared concepts where you got to save. We shared concepts where you want your money to grow. We shared concepts where you want to utilize what we call compound interest. In other words, we need to have money at the bank. There's no two ways about it. Okay, for wet days, if you want a quick withdrawal, etc. But we also think long term, because there will come a time when you're not gainfully employed, when you got to retire. Yeah, but the bills don't go away. Mortgage, grocery, children, expenses are there. So we want to be able to capture what we call the four pillars, where we have protection, there's growth, and flexibility. This beautiful thing called an IUL, or Index Universal Life, capture this, and I'll explain further. Next slide. By the way, Warren Buffett, his number one rule is never lose money. Rule number 2, he tells you, never forget rule number 1. Next slide. So, again, this IUL, I'll tell you, as compared to the performance in the stock market, over the last 10, 20, 25 years, the performance of the IUL has outpaced. In other words, it's grown. Your returns from the IUL, Index Universal Life, has been much more than the stock market for the last 25 years. Okay, everything I'm telling you here is pure facts. Okay, we invite you. You could connect with us via the message link or send us messages. We'll respond to you. Tell me, Rowan, tell me more about this IUL. IUL stands for Index Universal Life. We talked about some principles of safety, protecting your income, yeah? Income replacement, growth, okay? That's for you and your family. You may be the breadwinner, but if you're not there, that leaves a gushing hole for your family, your loved ones, okay? So with the IUL, Index Universal Life, there are 4 cornerstones. You have growth. Growth meaning whatever the stock market is doing. If the stock market is doing 10, 20, 25%, it's reflected in the IUL. The IUL captures that. Isn't that a beautiful thing? For me, it's totally exciting. Okay? It means if stock market is doing well, whatever it's doing, I capture it. I don't need to be invested directly in the stock market. This is an index strategy. Index simply meaning it reflects what is happening in the stock market. Stock market has growth. Do I want it? Absolutely. Yes. There is safety. What does safety mean? Safety means in bad days, in days of COVID, where there's a stock market crash, stock market is going down, it may be doing negative. If people who are directly invested in the stock market, and which is a very good thing, by the way, to be invested in the stock market, but there's safety. When the stock market is doing poorly, you lose money. But guess what? In an IUL, there's safety. Even during COVID, when the stock market was deep in negative, which means people were losing monies, 20, 35, 40% as much, those who had an IUL, Index Universal Life, they had safety. Even when the stock market is doing negative, you are guaranteed in this IUL product to obtain 0.75. So look at this, the perspective of this. Stock market is doing is negative. Okay, you're losing. But you don't lose if the IUL, there's safety. You are guaranteed. Even if stock market is doing 0, you will get 0.75 of 1%. Isn't that a good thing? Absolutely. There is tax advantage. We need to know how to make taxes work for us. We call it tax advantages. Okay? So we talk about tax deferred advantage vehicles can play a significant role in building our wealth. Okay? And this is what you get with the IUL. Again, we are just touching on concepts. We are not going into depth. We ask that you can connect with us. Okay, we'll tell you how you could connect with us, where we could do one-on-ones and share a little more information. And we are taking all of this from a scriptural point of view. There is what you call protection. When we say protection, we're referring to protecting your income, your assets, your life, long-term care. What happens if you die tomorrow? That income you bring into your family, it's gone. Nobody wants that. No, neither do I. Life is not promised to me. That's why I say we have to be grateful for daily living, give thanks and praise. Okay? If something happens to you where you're sick, you cannot go into the office. Maybe you cannot speak, you cannot write. Be cancer, heart attack, stroke, brain aneurysm, kidney failure, etc. Okay? You are not dead. I'll repeat that. You are not dead. You are alive, but you cannot work. You're short of what you used to be. So which means you cannot get that income. We talked about single-handed income. I give my time and I get paid. But here I'm sick. I cannot do what I used to do before. So what happens to me? That income is gone. So what you want to do, you want to protect that income for yourself. In other words, if you cannot work, you want that income to be coming in to protect yourself and your family. Okay, long-term care. Okay, you may have a disability or what you call a chronic illness that affects your movement. It could be a critical illness like heart attack, stroke, whatever. Again, you're not dead, you're alive. Okay, but where's that money going to come from? And you know, when you have a medical issue, a serious issue, which we call critical illness, it could wipe you out even though you got savings. So what are we going to do? We need an IUL. For me, I think this is the most beautiful product one could have. Okay? Next slide. Okay, good. So these are some of the concepts. Again, we just touch on some concepts for you. Okay? You could take it off. And I believe the IUL is a very beautiful product. I would like to tell you more, but I'm going to invite you to connect with us. Again, we on Watch Radio Live, and at this moment, we shall go to a commercial break, and we shall be back. Thank you.
13th December, St. Lucia's National Day. The vibes turn all the way up.
Roll the drums.
Sylvia's Kitchen and DJ Kenny presents a jour pour manger, backed up by a National Day DJ Marathon. Breakfast starts from 9 a.m. sharp. It's a full day affair. Hosted by DJ Kenny, featuring a power-packed lineup of pure St. Lucian DJ talent. DJ Red Bull, DJ Sniper Kid, Speedometer, DJ Bow, Digital Bashment, Sci-Fi, DJ Bashi, Small Boy, and DJ Zach. We've got foods and DJs from the mountains to the coastlines. Every rhythm, every vibe, every flavor of the island. It's a food and DJ marathon. Food festivities starts from 9 a.m. DJ Marathon from 8 p.m. Legends Place, 495 East 95th Street, between Church Avenue and Wilmore Street.
What's up?
This is National Day done the right way. Food, music, culture, straight 758 energy. Woo! National Day, un jour pour manger hebdassé.
Hi folks, Kelly Indy Smith here, creative artist and founder of the Southern Gem Foundation. Our holiday pledge season is officially on the way here at the Southern Gem Foundation. And what the holiday pledge season is all about is providing our donors and our patrons a special opportunity to give back to the Southern Gem Foundation in a meaningful way. This year, we'd like to spread the holiday cheer to disabled kids. We will be gifting baskets with sensory items, toys, and anything that disabled kids might need in making their holidays a little more special. We invite you to join us in making this initiative a reality. If you would like to donate either items for our baskets or donate monetary funds, please, please, please reach out to the Southern Gem Foundation. We are available on all social media platforms, and we could also be reached via WhatsApp at 929-382-0006. If you'd like to make a monetary donation, please zell us at the Southern Gem Foundation at gmail.com. Thank you for your continued support and all that you do, and especially this holiday season as we bring cheer to these disabled kids. Thank you again, and thank you for being a gem. Bye.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us today. We are live on Watch Radio, Faith, Health, and Finance. This is a new program on Watch Radio. Watch Radio is the place to be. We aim here to educate you, to share some concepts. It's not financial advice, but some concepts coming from the Bible, biblical point of view, that will help you in your daily living, to save, to improve your living. The Bible tells us we need to plan. We need to plan. We need to take care of our health. You will agree, if you're not taking care of your health, it can cost you low down. Yeah? Okay, because there's so many things affecting us. Diabetes, okay? I have diabetes in my family. My uncle passed away from it. So I need to take proactive action. Most I could do, try healthy living. I do checkups ever so often. And that's the most you could do to find out your sugar, etc. How many of us have done that within the last 6 months? Did you go to the doctor to do just a checkup, even if you feel fine? Do you know what your cholesterol is? Do you know what your sugar is, etc.? These are the interesting, very vital topics and thoughts we need to have. So let's be proactive, okay? Because daily living, our daily health is important. The Bible tells you your body is the temple of the Lord. We give thanks and praise. Thank you for joining us again on Watch Radio. Right now, I would like to go to the CEO of an app, an organization called Penny Pinch. I used Penny Pinch. When I was told of it, I was very doubtful. What is this? Is this a scam? What is this? I'm from a financial background, being an accountant and also an educator. Okay, I decided to test and delve into this app, and I was very surprised. This works, and it's Penny Pinch. I use Penny Pinch every day. Okay, but this is what I know, but a lot of people don't know about it. So I'm very happy to introduce Mr. Brother Martin HANNA online, who is the co-founder of Penny Pinch. Martin, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having
Welcome.
me.
Yeah, our audience today is diaspora, St. Lucians everywhere, as well as the public all over the world. Okay, Watch Radio has a very far reach, so you have a very wide audience. Martin, what is Penny Pinch?
So Penny Pinch is an ecosystem, as we like to call it, that helps people manage money in their day-to-day lives. So Rowan, you might use it for one reason, someone else might use it for another. What we're building is the modernized approach of moving money, whether it's paying your bills, receiving money from abroad, or just sending money between you and your mom in St. Lucia. What we're trying to do is build out simple financial services for everyone.
That sounds so good. So can everyone use Penny Pinch, or for now, is it Penny Pinch, is it an app operating just for St. Lucia? And if it is, are there plans for it to expand to the wider Caribbean, etc.?
Right, so as you know, we are a regulated entity, and as a regulated entity, we do have to abide with the law. And right now, we are the only regulated licensed digital wallet in St. Lucia for now. And we do have plans to extend this to other OECS islands. There is actually new regulations that the central bank is putting into law very soon that would allow us to now go past St. Lucia and extend our services to all of the Eastern Caribbean islands.
That sounds so amazing. So, for now, let me summarize. You're saying right now you are doing strictly St. Lucia, but there are plans for you to extend to the other islands, etc. So, this
Yes,
sounds like something that's going to help diaspora. And when I say diaspora, I refer to St. Lucians, in
correct.
particular living abroad, where in the States, they may be in St. Croix, Virgin Islands, in the UK, in Canada.
Now, just to make sure we're not confusing the audience, right? While we operate in St. Lucia, once you have a national ID from St. Lucia that is expired, you could be anywhere in the world as a diaspora and still sign up for Penny Pinch. So, not restricted to being in St. Lucia to use Penny Pinch.
Yeah, that sounds very lovely. What I'm hearing there again, and I'll keep summarizing for the audience, just in case there is anybody having a technical issue of hearing you. Well, you're saying that right now, we said it's for St. Lucians. There are plans to expand throughout the Caribbean. Great.
Correct.
You also stating that St. Lucians outside of St. Lucia, which we call the diaspora, are able to use penny pinch.
Correct.
What so say I'm living in the UK, I'm living in Australia, I'm living in Canada or the Virgin Islands. I'm not in St. Lucia. Maybe I cannot travel to St. Lucia. Okay, I'm living in the US. How can I sign up with Penny Pinch? What is the main factor? What do I need? What documentation do I need to sign up?
So it's very simple. We allow you to sign up with your ID. So you would do this by taking a selfie image holding your ID so we know that you're the one behind the ID that's signing up on our app, and then simple front and back image of the ID. So as a registered financial institution, we do have to verify who our customers are, and once you pass that stage, you're able to use all of our services. So Ron, maybe we could speak a bit more about the services that we offer.
Okay, so I think I'll summarize again, just in case anyone is having a technology issue where they cannot hear. What you said is no matter where you live in, you're able to sign up to Penny Pinch once you have a St. Lucian ID. And that
Correct.
refers to having an ID card, which is not expired, as well as a St. Lucian passport would do. Yes,
Or
you can
driver's
sign up. Right. Now, you mentioned for verification because there's financial compliance. You got to take a selfie of yourself and a picture of the ID. I know people are very sensitive when it comes to, oh, put it by there, about the internet, taking pictures, etc. I was one of these people, but then I understand the need for financial compliance, particularly in the United States. There's very strong legislation against money laundering. Okay,
Correct.
I know with there are other apps and services where you could send monies. Might be Western Union. I've done it. MoneyGram. Okay, the both you could use the apps, but you need to identify yourself by uploading your image, your face, your image. So this is not something that's new. And you're saying that there's very good, adequate, strong security with your app. So we're saying it's not a scam. It's legitimate because to use that app, you had to adhere to certain financial compliance to be given the authority through the regulators to operate. Okay.
Right.
So where do I get Penny Pinch? What do I need to do? I Google it? Do I go to the Play Store app or the iPhone app? What do I need to do? How do I get Penny Pinch?
So we're available on both of the stores, the apps, the iPhone on the Google or Android App Store. So, or you could visit mypennypinch.com/app, which will take you directly to whichever store that you're on. Once you download our app, you can now sign up. And once you sign up, you're able to begin adding money or receiving money from abroad.
How long does it take to sign up for the app? If I go to the Google Store, Play Store, I get it, or the App Store for iPhone, how long does this take? An hour, 2, 3 hours? How long does this take? A couple of minutes?
Usually, you expect verification to be done in a few hours to a day. However, it does depend on the demand for that day or week. However, with our
With our
automated
automated
system,
system,
it
it
can
can
take a
take a
few
few
minutes.
minutes. Okay, I think in my experience, when I signed up, I used my ID and I did the selfie thing.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, which the same thing you got to do in other apps. Okay,
it's a
it's a
standard.
standard. Yeah, it's standard for financial compliance because we know we
Correct.
have bad characters acting out there.
Yes.
And we want to, the legislation is built that you want to avoid money laundering, okay, which is a crime. Okay, so in my case, I think it didn't take more than 10 minutes. I uploaded everything, ID, facial, and I got approval, I would say probably instantly.
Yes,
So
that's
that's
how
how
automated
automated
system
system
working.
works. Automated, right.
When
When
we
we
have,
have,
we
we
also do
also do
manual,
manual,
so
so
maybe
maybe
people
people
who
who
have
have
poor
poor
phones
phones,
or their
the
camera's
camera's
not
not
working,
working,
or
or
maybe
maybe
they
they
don't
don't
have
have
the
the
ID
ID
right
right
in front of
of
them, we
them.
do
We do
also
also
allow
allow
people
people
to
to
kind
kind
of
of
manually
manually
upload
upload
their
their
documents.
documents. Yeah, and you said you could go to the App Store, Android, sorry, iPhone. You could go to the Play Store
Yeah.
for Android, or you could go to mypennypitch.com.
mypennypinch.com slash
mypennypinch.com/app.
app.
Yeah, and you could say that you guys don't sell the information to third parties. It's all for regulated purposes.
Correct.
So I have in the past, if I wanted to send money to my St. Lucian account, I
Hmm.
would have to send a MoneyGram. I'd have to send a Western Union to someone and say, "Hey, take this and go and put it in my bank account." From what I'm
Right.
hearing is that Penny Pinch is a bridge because I can now send from my account right here, send to Penny Pinch, and then it Penny Pinch the app. I'm able to push it to my bank account. So tell me, how does that work, and which banks that you deal with now?
So
So
the
the
use
use
case you
case you
mentioned,
mentioned,
I assume would be, you want to move money from the US to a local bank account. You want to avoid that wire transfer fee. It sometimes can cost a lot. So what you can do is simply load your Penny Pinch app with money via a card. So you could just use your normal bank card to add funds, or you could MoneyGram yourself and then receive that MoneyGram or Western Union, because we do both MoneyGram and Western Union. You could then receive that transfer to the app and then do a bank withdrawal directly to any commercial bank in St. Lucia. We're also working on the credit union, so eventually we will allow you to withdraw funds directly to a credit union. But for right now, it's the four commercial banks that we're all familiar with.
so are there any costs associated with that? And if it's are these exorbitant or are these competitive?
I would
I
say
would
they're
say they're
competitive
competitive
in
in
comparison
comparison
to
to
doing a
doing a
wire
wire
transfer.
transfer.
So
So
withdraw
withdraw
to
to
bank,
bank,
it
it
depends on
depends on
how
how
much,
much,
but
but
let's say
let's
if
say
it's for a
for a
thousand
thousand
EC,
EC,
it
it
starts
starts
at
at
1%
1%
plus
plus
$5.
$5. And this
Right?
is standard because wherever you go, there are fees. Even to use your
Yeah.
ATM card, there are fees at the bank. You use another bank. If I'm with Chase and I use another bank, I got to pay. So this is standard. I find it's I use Penny Pinch literally every day or every 2 days. I find it is very very helpful. I was particularly impressed. So I'm here in the U.S., but I need to pay my mortgage in St. Lucia. I need to pay my other insurances in St. Lucia. You saying that from here, from my phone, that I'm able to pay the mortgage, the loans in St. Lucia? How did you do this? How is that possible? Tell us. I'm so excited. Tell us.
So we support pretty much all bill payments. We have a partner, ShorePay, which many of you may know. So our billing services are routed through ShorePay, so that gives us access to, all the mortgages, the loans, the insurance, the utilities. So right from the Penny Pinch app, you can pay over 40 utility or biller companies that we support, and that includes, the Wasco, Lucilex, insurance, anyone that you can imagine, you can pay directly through Penny Pinch.
Okay, Martin, this is really exciting. I use it, so I know those apps. I know it works because I'm able to pay mortgage in St. Lucia. I'm able to pay my insurances. I was so amazed. It even gives me the balance. The balances. I'm saying, what the hell is going on? This is so real. I got so very excited. We're very happy that you're here with us to educate us, the diaspora. Um, today, but we will want you to come back on to tell us a little more. I would also like you, because a lot of people didn't know of it, and like I asked people, do you know what penny pinch is? No, me, I want to stay away from scams, etc. I would like to personally say it's not a scam, because I know that there's financial compliance. Just like the other apps we use, like use Western Union, MoneyGram. If you need to use the app, there's certain regulations you got to go to. So I'm very happy for Penny Pinch. We will bring in you. We want you to tell us more.
If we could talk about one more thing.
Go ahead.
So, for those abroad who are used to using MoneyGram or Western Union, you can continue doing that. However, the person in St. Lucia no longer needs to go on a line and actually fill in the paperwork, wait an hour, and receive their funds. Because Penny Pinch has that relationship with both MoneyGram and Western Union, you can skip the line and just tell anyone that you're sending to download Penny Pinch, and then with the MoneyGram and Western Union, they could just receive it directly to the Penny Pinch app and then pay their bills or do a bank transfer. So for the diaspora sending to St. Lucia, the person receiving does not have to be going on a long line, taking a bus, spending hours on wasted time. They can now simply just receive it directly through Penny Pinch.
That is so wonderful. That is so beautiful. It gets me very, very excited. Martin, thank you. We want to bring you back on at some point to tell us a little more. We'd also like, I'm putting you on the spot, if you would do something at some point. We're not saying it's going to be advertising, but the people out there in the diaspora need to know about Penny Pinch. Why, Martin? Because I ask people, do you know what Penny Pinch is? They've never heard of it, but it is beautiful. Someone in my family told me about it. I said, really? That must be a scam. But I'm a financial person, financial professional. I went, I tested it in every way. Okay, I also tested the support, and it works. And then I'm familiar, even as a professional, I have to do courses on money laundering, etc. The whole aim is to avoid be very on top of anti-money laundering techniques. So I could say the Penny Pinch app works. We want you to come back on to tell us a little more. We'd be happy if you could do something. We'd say, we're not saying it's advertising, but it may fall into that. But to the diaspora out there, okay? And Watch Radio has a very wide reach. They need to know what Penny Pinch is, Martin. So, Martin, thank you so very much. I'll be in touch. Anyone, and again, Martin, I think you have there is a support. If anybody has any questions, there's
Yes.
also app that you could. Penny Pinch is available on the WhatsApp that you could send questions, etc. If somebody has a question on a transaction, I
Yeah.
know if I want to send, say, to my Bank of St. Lucia, if I push from my Chase account, I send it through the app by say before 8 o'clock St. Lucian time, and then I push it from the Penny Pinch app to the bank. I know this by 12 o'clock it's there in my account, and it works all the time. Or else you guys hear from me. But it's beautiful. Martin, thank you for coming on. We'll be in touch. Thank you so very much.
All right, Ron. Thanks for having me.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right.
Bye. Diaspora, thank you for tuning in. This concludes our first program, Faith, Health, and Finance. We do everything from a biblical point of view. We give honor and praise to the Lord. Life is not promised to us. It is the Lord who is in charge. So, again, we all here on Watch Radio, Faith, Health, and Finance. We'll be having additional programs. We want to educate you on different topics that could help you in your daily living, in finances, etc. And also, we'll be having topics on health. We'll be having people coming to talk to us on matters that affect us. Okay? It could be cancer, heart attack, maybe an enlarged prostate. These are really strong issues. We want you to tell a friend about faith, health, and finance. We are on Watch Radio. There are various ways you can contact us. But for now, if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat, and we will contact you. This concludes our first program. My name is Ron Fernelon, your host. Thank you for joining in. Thank you.